They say the truth is hard to weaponize. They only injured when they telling lies. The devil feel the shame when revolutions finally televised. You've been advised. Crafting narratives incentivized when lies are uplifted. Being candid gets you penalized.
So before we get started, why you wanted to talk about this? You wanna get on my girl? Is that what you want to do?
I mean, I just, felt like it was good to have another updated conversation. And we think we had a pretty good one last time. And I saw that you were sharing something about her. She was a pretty hot topic. So I figured, why not, Why not talk about it? I've seen a few things about her.
Mm. Mm.
So
Did you do a YouTube video about her?
I have not. I'm thinking about doing one. I was actually talking with my wife about it this morning. And we were kind of, bouncing off ideas and getting her perspective.
Okay. Is she don't really care for her either?
No, I mean she didn't really have. I don't think she really knew about her much before
Okay.
this. Just heard of the name, and I was kind of telling her that some of the things she was saying, she was kind of giving me I could see what she's saying because of this. You know what I mean? I was saying, well, I disagree because of this, and she was saying, well, I can see what she's saying because it's like that type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started because I don't know if I want to be on here for an hour again.
That's not.
I'm trying to cut these down to like 30 minutes, but we get long-winded and all that, but I'm gonna cut to it. Hello everybody, my name is Jewel Chapple, Apple with a CH, also known as TheSparkleLady, also known as the Karaoke Queen, and now also known as the face behind the brand Let's Talk Not Argue, where we are having healthy conversations of whatever we want to talk about. So today, my good friend Akil hit me up and said, hey, we got to talk about this. And I'm so glad he did because we really do. I don't want to get in the Twitter fingers of making all these posts because I do have a lot to say behind this Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I have a lot to say. But before we go further, I'm going to let my friend introduce himself and all that good jazz.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm Akil Muhammad. I do some content online. I do some dentistry content because I'm a dentist. I do basketball content and some commentary / music reaction content. I'm doing the Drake reaction series right now on one of my channels, King Akil on YouTube. And a lot of times I just give commentary type of stuff on that same channel. So here we're here to talk about Cheyenne, Dr. Bryant.
By the way, I don't know if you're a Drake fan, but I do like that Iceman album.
Oh yeah, it's been good so far. I haven't listened to the last 6 songs. That's what I think I'm doing like tonight or tomorrow morning. But I've enjoyed it.
I listened to it today, and like I said, I'm a Drake fan, and I was like, "Ooh, Drake! Ooh, I like this."
You
Yeah,
got me bag for that one for sure.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. That to me, it was no skips. I
Right.
enjoy an album where it's no skips. So, but we could, yeah. Whenever you do that reaction to it, I'm definitely gonna comment and go watch that because we
Okay.
gotta talk about that. But okay, so Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. So funny thing about that, I didn't really know what was going on. I am a fan of hers. Saw her off of the Tonight Conversations, which I love that platform. And then I saw her when she did the Shannon Sharp interview. I really enjoyed that interview. And then I kind of just started following her and listening to her being on different platforms and saying what she got to say.
All right.
But I didn't really know specifically what was going on. I would watch a few clips and basically correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing is that she's really not a doctor. She said she is, but she can't prove it because of the university she went to shut down and all her stuff is lost. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what she alleges. That's her side of the story.
But people are saying even if it was a university that closed, you still can find your dissertation online.
Yes, and not even if it was from what I'm hearing, and I haven't done the research myself to go and go to this website. From what I've heard, it's not just if you have gone to a university. The thing is, other people have gone to that exact same university and said that they can find the records from that same exact university that's closed down still online. So
Oh.
yeah, so it's not so she's not the only one who's went there. So if you're saying that, hey, the reason I can't obtain my records is because the school basically shut down and people can't obtain their records. Well, then therefore the other people who went to the school should not be able to obtain their records, but they're saying so.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not so she's not the only one who's went there. So if you're saying that, hey, the reason I can't obtain my records is because the school basically shut down and people can't obtain their records. Well, then therefore the other people who went to the school should not be able to obtain their records, but they're saying, from what I've heard, that that's not the case. So that's another one of the things that's kind of like being thrown back in her face. So to me, it seems like, just from afar, just cutting straight to the chase, it seems like someone who potentially, I don't know if they're on a track or maybe considering this or whatever the case is, but did not finish a program or obtain licensure for whatever reason, and has built a brand off of this idea, and now
Hmm.
is like dying with the lie. And because it's kind of off a false premise, and now going off of technicalities, where I said life coach this, not necessarily this, but there's many clips of her introducing herself as a doctor of psychology. So therefore, a lot of people are calling her out, saying it basically it's like the Dr. Love situation, and some person operating as a doctor without a doctorate. And I don't know how it is in the psychology field. I don't work in psychology, but I know in a lot of fields, if you have a doctorate degree, you have to produce the proof of that in order to operate.
Right.
They have to be able to see that. Like if you come to the dentistry office and I say, hey, I want to drill in your teeth, and you don't know, I can't produce any record that I'm a doctor. Like, why would you let me do that? I can't do that. So I think that is another part of it. So yeah.
Right. Akil, do me a favor. I think you need to back up because like only half of your face is showing. I'm looking on my other phone to see how it looks. Real quick, Blair, I'm gonna call you back. I'm sorry. I've been like stupid busy. I didn't forget about you. If I don't call you tonight, I'm definitely calling you first thing in the morning. There we go. I can see you. Yay. Okay. Perfect. Because I don't want everyone to be like, I can't see him talking.
Okay.
Um, okay, so my thought process on that is I have mixed feelings. I didn't I didn't start following her because she's a doctor because I have my mixed feelings about doctors. Doctors, yeah, they go to school, but they're also in the business to say what they need to say, especially the ones at the hospital. This is a personal opinion. This is not facts. But I feel that doctors, are the pharmaceutical business. They got to tell you one thing to get you on medicine. So I have my mixed feelings about doctors. So when it
Okay.
comes to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I didn't follow her because she's a doctor. I followed because of the way she articulated her message. And I like that she held both parties accountable, if not mainly women. So a lot of people deemed her as the female
Kevin
Kevin
Samuels.
Samuels, which I don't know if people listen to Kevin Samuels, but his content was really good towards the end because he held both parties accountable. And but people don't like to be held accountable. People don't like when you say that's wrong if you're doing this. That's, whatever. And I think that's why people are crucifying her. Oh, you a fraud anyway, so we don't have to listen to you. And
Hmm.
my thing is, well, when did y'all care about people's background anyway? Because y'all listen to whoever y'all want to listen to. Y'all are just saying that because she was holding men and women accountable as far as having better relationships and communicative skills. And y'all, mainly black people, don't want to be held accountable. And now y'all want to have a reason to cop out. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I understand that. I would say I'll give a little pushback on a couple of things. Well, first I'll start off with agreement. When I first heard Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I also agreed with some of the things she said. I think she was on I think it was like Nick Cannon or one of the podcasts. I think it was the Nick Cannon one. I agreed with a lot of the things that she was saying. So it's not that, just because if, you don't have the credentials that everything you say is just fodder. I mean, we all can have valid opinions about things we're no expert on. That's fair for anyone. I just think people have to be careful on who they choose to listen to when they're positioning themselves as an expert if they haven't like provided any type of proof of their expertise, especially in any form of life. So if Dr. Cheyenne Bryant doesn't have the degree to back up what she's saying, if she doesn't have the results in her personal life to back up what she's saying, if she doesn't have the reputation amongst people to back up what she's saying, then I just think it's just people need to be careful about who they decide to listen to. That doesn't mean she can't give a valid opinion. I'm just saying, to me, that's a cause for pause. But see, about the female Kevin Samuels thing, I wasn't a big fan of Kevin Samuels personally, but that doesn't mean Kevin Samuels had not said a lot of things that I saw clearly to be true, or that I didn't understand some value in some of the things that he was doing. And one of the things, though, I do find interesting, as someone who's not really a big fan of Kevin Samuels at all, but the revisionist history of Kevin Samuels, because Kevin Samuels started off holding just men accountable for a long time.
Right.
And so
Very much so.
if Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, when we're saying like she's holding both accountable, it's kind of almost like unlike Kevin Samuels, I would say that's very much like Kevin Samuels. And I do think that's why some people gravitated towards her. But whether it's Kevin Samuels or anyone else, I'm just saying in general, I think it's a thing online, especially where anyone can be anyone, where people have to start being careful about who it is they're choosing to listen to in terms of an expert on anything. If they don't have any type of credentialing in the field and they cannot provide proof of that, if they don't have the results in their personal life, if they don't have the thing, it's very easy to get on cameras and people just start spewing opinions. So that's what I'm saying. I just really want people to be careful about that. And this example, to me, Cheyenne Bryant is, I think, unfortunately going to be used as a cautionary tale for a lot of people in terms of that archetype. Someone who's giving advice where they don't seem to have the grounds to be able to do that, to support, justify why someone should listen to their advice. And like I said, that doesn't mean everything you say is wrong. You can be a smoker telling people not to smoke, and that can still be valid advice. But it's just the fact of the matter is, if you're now going to, put yourself in the forefront as a smoking expert or stop smoking expert, and you're smoking, well, then a lot less people are going to take you serious.
So really the issue is just the fact that she claims she's a doctor.
I think in terms of many things, I also would say in terms of a lot of the opinions that she's given, I disagree with a lot of things that she says constantly. I think she's just very articulate. Sometimes she says things I agree with, but sometimes I think she gets off base, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think many people agree with her on some things that she says. And if she's not a man and she's not coming from an expertise,
Like what?
place.
Like, give me an example of something that she has said that you really do not agree with.
Okay, so today, I was watching because I knew we were gonna have this conversation. I was watching like the first hour. I think I did an hour of her Joe Budden podcast interview. I think they released it on YouTube. And so she was making a few points that I think everyone in the room vastly disagreed with. One, she was trying to establish a point of her logic was that, hey, every time a man cheats on you, it's a man, basically, he doesn't care to get caught. He just doesn't value you. So basically, he's cheating on you flippantly, basically saying, like, I can have another you, so I don't care if I get caught. And most people were looking like, that's not most people. There are some men like that, but if you find a man like that, that's usually a man way up there. That'll be like Drake or something, maybe like that. I don't know. But most men don't operate like that. She also was then made a point today on the Joe Budden podcast that I was watching, where she was saying that why men have side chicks. And she was saying men will basically marry a woman, they're settling for this crumb, as she described them. And then when they find a woman who's a loaf, basically, I think she's saying like a Instagram model woman with that type of aesthetic, that's the woman he really wants, but he didn't have access to before. So he goes and has side chicks, A, because it's sneaky and he just enjoys the thrill of it, and B, because now he really wants the side chick woman, but she's too much for him. And so to me, there's like a lot of flaws throughout that entire logical theory. I can understand how someone could create that narrative, but it's so far off base, in my opinion. And that's why it's dangerous advice, because if you're now advising young women about what it is to look for, they're going to be looking for the wrong thing. Because if If men were doing these things for the thrill of it, then that means if you remove the thrill of it, you should see this go down. This was a big case that she was trying to make in the podcast. Well, so in a situation where a woman is completely okay with it and there's no drama if he gets caught or anything like that, does he not do it then? The thrill will be gone. There's no risk of getting caught. And you see that men will still do that. So that you're not going to see a change in behavior if you remove the thrill, take away the thrill. They're not doing it just for the thrill. I mean, that can add a boost to some people doing these things, but usually these things are more character issues, discipline issues, things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like a character flaw in someone that wants to do that to you, not just about that. The second thing was about the whole loaf and bread thing. She was posturing kind of like this woman who men step out on women with and don't want to commit to, as like the loaf and the other woman as the crumb, as if like that is the value, that's the woman that people want. And you know, it was just like, to me, a backwards line of thinking, because usually it's the opposite for most men. Theology of why they're doing that, they look at the other woman as the crumb, but just a crumb who's enticing, to take a crumb with sugar on it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like something that it's not something that they're going to eat every day or whatever the case is. It's just this thing. It's a piece of candy. And so, but I feel like sometimes people will position things in that line of logic to try to also, I don't know, kind of reshape the way people perceive themselves, or people that they want to advocate for if they don't have the result. And I don't think that's proper advice, even if you don't have the right result. Because if I'm a smoker and I'm giving you smoke advice, I shouldn't come from it from a perspective of trying to justify my smoking to you and then giving you the smoke advice. I should at least tell you, well, not like me, but not try to change the way everyone views me. And I feel like sometimes people do that.
It sounds like the problem is the fact that she's speaking on how men think, and the fact that she's not a man. It's like she doesn't have a right to say that. Am I correct?
Or an expert, yeah, or a man, or then now an expert either. So, you know, that would give
So it really should be a man. That should be coming from a man, not a woman, expert or not.
I would say yes if you're giving an opinion on men for the aesthetics, but if at least you're going to do that and not be that, at least be an expert. Like if you're a male OBGYN, at least you're an expert. You know what I mean?
Because as men and women, we think different. Mm-hmm. So her message from a woman's point of view is really to give comfort to the woman that maybe has experienced this, to give them a reason. Maybe it's not really you, it's really him. That's how we take it. I don't take it as her like, this is how men are. This is just, I take it as, well, this is another logic for you to think outside of, so you don't always blame yourself. Because women do blame themselves, or men do say, well, he cheated because you didn't do this, this, and this. So she's basically changing the narrative of, no, he cheated because he is this type of person, not because you don't take accountability for his actions. That's how I view it. So when I hear that perspective, I don't hear, this is how men are. I hear, this is how men can be. This is another way to spin it, to think of it, instead of you taking the blame for some men's shortcomings. Because that's how I viewed her whenever she would speak. It's almost like I hear what she's saying without her actually saying it, because I'm a woman. So I understand where she's coming from that. But I can also see how men can be like, but you're not a man. That's not how men are. And then I'm almost like, well, how do you know? Because you're not a cheater. So how do you know that's not really how they are?
Well, because again, a lot of times she's speaking to men's nature, and even men who are not a cheater. Like, I don't be cheating, but I'm saying, I understand every man is going to be tempted to cheat, because that's a man's nature. A man's nature is not to cheat, but but be tempted by women. Like, that's just biology. Like, I think everyone understands that. Like, men are tempted by women. Choosing to not engage with them is the action of not cheating. It's always because you want something else, whether it's God, whether it's family, whether it's this commitment. That's the reason you don't do it, not because you're not a man tempted. But I'm saying
So would you have felt better if she was like, for real, a doctor with real
That for
Like
sure. That
all the good things that said like, oh yeah, she got the credentials, she got the experience, she did a test on men, she interviewed 100 men, and then if
yes,
she did that and said the same message, you would feel better
but
about it.
see, I would say yes and no, but I would kind of reframe the way that you're saying it. I would say that it draws into suspicion more her credentials because of the things that she said. It's not that her message was we love the message but she's not a doctor. It's the message itself everyone's looking at as flawed because they're saying no doctor would say that because it doesn't make logical sense. And the reason why I think a lot of men also have a problem with it it's not. I don't even think it's just men. I'm making this a man. It's not really a man. I'm saying there's people who just have a problem with it. To me, the reason is also because the advice to me could be poison for a young girl. So if you go back to like what you were saying when you were saying like, hey, if a young girl's blaming herself because a man stepped out on her, you should not do that. It is a him thing. It has nothing to do with you. But if you're now attributing, okay, that's just part of the equation. Whenever you're trying to cure something, you have to find the root cause. Okay, so what was it about potentially him that put him in that door? And to me, when people want to avoid this conversation or try to frame this as victim blaming, I think they lose some significant chance to improve their own mate selection. Because if you think it's because he doesn't care about you, then the solution to that will be find a man who cares more about you. But it's not a care issue. So you're looking in the wrong direction. You're not even solving your problem that you ended up with. So if it's care or if it's a man who doesn't love you, it has nothing to do with love. So now you're looking for a man who loves you more. And so again,
Um,
that's not gonna solve your problem. This is a man who lacks discipline. This is a man who maybe has more greed and gluttony. So if you want to avoid that, that's the character trait that you should be looking at in the next man that you see. A man who shows in his walk of life sexual discipline. If sexual discipline is the final straw for you, then you should take from this situation that maybe I overlooked this man's sexual discipline in terms of how I evaluated it. And so if I understand that, then the next time that's what I'm looking at. If that's the thing that's a no, that's a deal breaker for me. Some women are okay with it.
yeah,
But if that's the
women just
if
don't
women
think
tell
of it
other
like
women,
that.
but if women are telling other women that the man is doing this because, yes, it's a him thing, but he just didn't love you. Well, then now she's looking for a man who truly loves her, and that's not gonna solve her problem. Or he didn't care about you. Now you're looking for a man who truly cares about you and making show care and love and all this other shit. I mean, all this other things in very
But the
different.
way that we gauge love is through your actions.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's okay. What actions though are you using that to gauge love? Because you can very well say, hey, a man can fully love a woman and mistreat her, and she wouldn't be wrong for leaving him. If he steps out on her and she says that's a deal breaker for me, you wouldn't be wrong for doing that. But if you were saying, well, he didn't love me, then that's not. Then you've deduced the wrong conclusion. Like you may have made the right, move, but you deducing the wrong conclusion for what it is about him because it has nothing to do with how he loves you. That's not usually the way that love is expressed. You know what I mean? But he may have problems that you don't want to deal with. But love is not the solution for the problem if you're dealing with in sexual discipline of a man. You want to find that other avenues of his life he's disciplined in terms of his personal life, other character traits that he's shown in terms of loyalty to his friends and other things like that. Those are the character traits you want to look for. You know what I mean? Not love and all this other stuff because that's not
But
what it comes down to.
now, but I'm having a hard time agreeing with. I don't agree with that. Like
Right?
I cannot see it that way, and it could be because maybe the type of woman I am, it makes no sense to me because if a man was to cheat on me, that's disrespectful. It's
Okay.
disrespectful. And disrespect comes with a lack of like, nah, you don't love me enough because you were thinking about yourself. That's how most women think. I do need women. I don't know if anybody's commenting because I just see people watching, but we do need some feedback on this. Women, if a man cheats on you, how does that make you feel? Like, does that make you feel that he doesn't love you? What are your experience with that? I would say men comment, but I don't want to give y'all away if y'all did cheat. But if you're brave enough to say that, but what we're talking about is right now about how Dr. Cheyenne's message is becoming null and void because she is not a doctor. which is fine. But my take on that is I don't care if she's not a doctor. I like what she said and it made
Right.
sense.
She's
I
black.
like what she said.
Yeah, it's like she. I feel like again, I feel like women are looking at this through a woman's lens. It's kind of like sometimes I feel like this is on prevalent on social media, and sometimes males or females can both do this to each other. It's like we know
Yeah.
what we want in someone, and we want that person to do that. Like a lot of men will be like, "Man, I want a woman," but then they're talking to a woman, be like, "But she is so emotional, and this." That's what women are. You know what I mean? Like women are gonna have some emotional outbursts. I'm not saying all women are super emotional. I'm just saying women. There's going to be some things that come with dealing with a woman. If you want to deal with women, that is just gonna come with it. There are certain
Yeah.
things. I'm not talking about cheating when it comes to men. I'm saying there are going to be certain things that women are going to also have to deal with when it also comes to men. And to better deal with those things, I feel like the better thing to do is understand those things first. And coming from a person to explain those things of the other person helps you understand those things. And so when Dr. Cheyenne is trying to explain these things to women in order for them to make better decisions, coming from a person who's unlicensed and doesn't have any license or have the result in their personal life, and the things they're saying and that men do or care for. She was in a room full of men and all the men disagreed. It's not just me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
You're right.
I'm
You're right.
saying so and what
Yeah.
that's gonna mislead women to approach this wrong, and they can't
Okay.
just and women have to break out of the habit of listening to someone because they like what they hear. So a lot of
Right.
times the people who are telling you the things that are most helpful are going to be the people who are telling you things that you don't quite like how it sounds as much. It's more uncomfortable to get a different change. So I'm not saying they have to listen to them like red pill dudes who bashing women. You don't listen to that.
Right.
But at the
Right.
same time, it doesn't also have to be someone that's just like more comfort or more comforting or making you feel like every time something's going wrong in your life, it's the other person, it's the man. Don't think about nothing. Don't change nothing about yourself. You know what I mean? If someone's telling you that, then they're not really for you, in my opinion. And so
Right.
so that's the other
Well,
part.
here's another way to look at it, because I do agree with the being in the room with a bunch of men. You say something and the men go, "No, that is not it," and then you challenge it. Yes, it is. I do agree with that. I don't like that people do that, because I would feel the same way too. What I don't like is when there's a room full of women and then the men say something and then the women say, "No, that's not what it is," and then they say, "Oh, see, now y'all being combative." So we both
Right.
feel, but
Right.
we do experience that. My question is, what are women supposed to do then? Because who else do we have out here that is trying to lead the women? Statistically, most black women can't even rely on their moms, or don't have that relationship or have a good example with their mother to know, how do I even coexist with the man and be cooperative and understanding. And Dr. Cheyenne kind of took that she did, and what also made her progress is that she's beautiful, and like you said, she knows how to talk. I mean, baby, look, I love the way she spoke. Very intelligent, and just beautiful. So you saw this woman that was beautiful and educated, and she seemed brave, and you made her like, wow, okay, she putting us on game. And then it's like, oh, she not a doctor, and it's like, damn, we just keep taking these L's as women in the spotlight. Like, when are we gonna do better or be better? What are we supposed to do now? So what advice can you give with that? Like, what are women supposed to do to even better understand men if we don't have these leaders in the community?
Okay, that's a great question. I mean, I would say that in today's day and age, there are many women and men alike who are giving great advice. And so people who are credentialed, who are, content is at an all-time high now. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a camera. So I wouldn't say we're in a drought of people who can actually give women good advice. Like there's a girl on YouTube, what's her name, Sade something. She sometimes gives good advice. There's a lot of different people who do it. It's just whether or not women want to like listen to that. It's the same thing for men. It's not just a woman thing. Like if there's men, there are some men who run to the internet to find their favorite creator say in every situation that it's all women's fault and the men take no accountability for the situation. There's that corner of any type of online space where people can find their echo chamber of people validating, or excusing, their failures of some sort. But the only true growth, if women want that, is to find people who are giving people real advice on change. And I'm not saying everything Dr. Cheyenne Bryant said was bad advice. I'm just saying that also, if the person's going to be giving you advice and they're just relying on giving you advice, at least check and make sure they have the result that you want. That would be one thing
Yeah.
that's my piece of advice I would tell women. If you want to listen to someone's advice on relationships or anything like that, if they're not just coming from a hey, this is, I would just even be guarded against people who are relationship experts. I would just make sure they have the result that you want. Same thing with men. If a man's trying to give you advice on how to structure your life, if his life isn't looking like somewhat like how you can see yourself,
Right,
like,
right, true.
why am I listening to him? And that would be my best advice. And so
Yeah,
Dr.
because
Cheyenne
the thing
Bryant,
with
for
her,
most women,
she,
won't be there.
yeah, the thing with her, she's super single, so it does kind of make it like, why am I listening to you?
All right. And can I say one last thing? And then I'm going to turn
Of
it over.
course,
And the
yeah,
other thing last piece of advice I'll say is I would guard women against this beauty trap. It's the same thing we had against Megan Thee Stallion. It's almost like women care and they try to give a woman like validation because she's aesthetically appealing, no matter what her behavior is, as if that justifies it because they're saying like that gives her extra boost. They keep saying like, this woman, she's so beautiful, she's so whatever. And they're like, okay, cool. I mean, she's a pretty girl, but there's a bunch of pretty girls nowadays. Like there's a whole lot of pretty women. And so that's not like enough to like show like this status. But I feel like a lot of times sometimes some people put more credit into that than that needs to be given. Because, it's almost like that gives her like some boost, and I don't feel like it does because I don't even feel like a lot of men are looking at her in the same way that women
right.
are. Like they're looking at her like, okay, I mean, yeah, she's a pretty girl, but I mean she's not Beyonce stopping the red carpet or nor like what I mean, and it's not like that. Like you're just a pretty girl. You know what I mean? And so that's something, but at the same time, that's not give you license to, just validate your
Yeah,
opinion. Be
that's
careful
just the
about
result
that.
of pretty privilege. That's all that
Yeah.
is. That's pretty privilege.
Yeah, pretty woman. I
A
should say.
lot of it,
I was gonna say
yeah.
you're a pretty woman. Pretty woman, but yeah.
Um, I do agree with when you said you do need to do your research. I'm so about that. I think for me, I was like, I mean, y'all can't really get that mad because it's not like y'all paid a session with her anyway.
Right.
So I think the people that maybe exchanged money, then yes, those are ones like, wait a minute, I really believe that you were a doctor. I was doing this. Those are the ones that really have something to say. But
Right.
us people that are constantly scrolling and changing our algorithms or whatever, I think most of us are just wanting to be mad because we want to be mad about something.
Right.
There's probably a big group of people that looked at her and didn't like the fact that she's pretty and has this platform and is saying all these things. And then now it's like, yes, now I got something on you. And I'm like, you got one thing. Granted, it's a really big thing, but like, do y'all really care about everybody's credentials? Like, who's really looking it up? Because I don't. I go to the doctor because he got a building, not because he's got the plaque on the wall. And that's my personality. I know that there are people that want to read through the fine print and everything, and they want to get the validation. I get that. But my thing is like, okay, I understand that she doesn't have the credentials, whatever, but were y'all really checking for it, or you only care because it's going viral that they're saying these things? Because don't discredit some of the things that she said, because she did give a lot of helpful advice. And like you said, from your point of view, well, she said these things about the men, and you have every right to feel that way because everything she said was really just a perspective. And coming from a woman, it is a woman's perspective. Unless she directly quoted a man, it is always going to be a woman's perspective. And this just shows how we are different and how we perceive things. And this is a big example how we are even more divided and become more divided because we're using her as, I mean, I read the comments and they're like, I'm not listening to her. She's a fraud. Oh my God. And guess what? Your mommy and daddy said Santa
Well,
Claus was real and they not. And you still listen to them. Are we being
well,
really serious about that?
I
So
yeah.
I'm sorry about my
Go
cat.
ahead. Go ahead. No, let me let you land. I gotta let you land. Let me let you land.
But I just hate how they crucify, from what I see, Black women. They make it's a mistake or whatever, And they do it to black men too. And this is just another thing we add, like, man, it's just another L. We talked about Megan and Clay. And it, to me, it's just another L we're taking in the community, because I'm like,
But
dang, we can't, like
why?
it.
See,
And like I said, it's just my perspective from what I'm feeling. And I feel this way because I am a fan of her. And I'm just like, dang, Cheyenne, why you just didn't say you was a life coach? That just would have been
no,
better.
this is true, but again, I think two things. One, I think we're kind of minimizing what it is that she quote unquote lied about. It's not like she just lied about one thing. It's kind of like the thing, because Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, like when you posture yourself as an expert, people are assuming that. Like you said about the doctor's office, when you walk into the doctor's office, if it says doctor on the door, you are assuming he can't do that because there's government agencies and other oversight committees that would not allow him to falsely advertise that, so I can trust that. So even if I don't go and physically look for the plaque, you still kind of want to make sure that he's there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you kind
Hmm.
of operate under that assumption. When someone's calling themselves a doctor, that's the same thing people are doing. So when they find out, so they are assuming that the advice that you're giving them is based on years of research, study, peer review, proven according to the board, etc. It's the same thing. I can start telling you a bunch of nonsense about your teeth and get you to believe me, because most people don't know anything about their teeth. But that you would believe me because, and I can explain it to you, make it sound good, but it's because that you're assuming if the Texas and Tennessee state boards are allowing him to talk about dentistry, clearly what he's saying must have to be true, right? Or that has to be against the law, right? It's kind of
Hmm.
like that consumer protection. And so I think when she violates that level of trust, because you just come out in public giving advice, people are assuming it's professional advice, find out it's not, of course you're going to lose. A whole lot of people are going to call you a fraud. They're going to be like, I was taking this advice under the assumption you were giving me professional advice. And when I find out that's not, you're just giving me some type of, like couch good advice, like that changes people's perception of you. There's one more thing at the end that you said. What was the last point that you made? Because there was one thing I wanted to respond to at the end.
Oh
Um,
Lord.
do you remember?
No, that's why we need like a person, a note
Yeah.
taker.
And Brian was saying one point. Oh, I remember now. Brian was saying one point. He was saying like the other problem is that we'll never really know what's happening in these people's relationships, which is true. That's very much a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the last time I was talking about the real truth is people need to stop idolizing celebrities and really caring about what these people have going on, because we don't know. But the second issue would be this. To me, the last part about like how feeling like black women are taking L's and et cetera, et cetera. I would say the only problem I feel like some people have, because this is kind of two different schools of thought, is why are the two examples that we said being used as a referendum against black women? So here we have, so if we talk about Meg Thee Stallion, we're literally talking about a rapper, a raunchy rapper in a relationship with an athlete, which she goes on social media saying something went wrong. That's the situation. That's not an indictment against black women. That's rappers and athletes. This is par for the course. Cheyenne Bryant, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, is, some people call this grifting. It's a lot of people who do it. It ain't just black women doing this. She's not the only one who's posturing herself as an expert under false credentials in today's day and age where everyone's trying to get a check off of being online. Like, so I don't think it's an indictment under black women, nor do I think black women should look at it as such whenever there is just happens to be a black woman, because to me, that type of rhetoric, and I can understand that if black women feel like constantly attacked, so now they see their fellow black woman, they're like, I just want to defend her. I do understand it, because I kind of sometimes feel that way about black people just in general, like black women, black men, doesn't
Right.
matter. So I understand sometimes the knee-jerk reaction to. I would just say that we do still owe a responsibility to look at each situation in a vacuum as well. Like, for example, with police brutality. Like, I'm very much Black Lives Matter, all of those things. But
Hmm.
every case is not, I can't just say that, you know what I mean? If I haven't watched the scene, you know what I mean? So
Right.
that's the
Right.
thing. So people still, same thing whenever it's a fellow, black person, whether it's Cheyenne Bryant or whoever, because she's been called a fraud or grifter, that's not an indictment on black women, nor does it help the validity of black women's online voice when they just use any opportunity to defend anything. It kind of makes it seem like, well, then we don't listen to when you're defending something, because it just seems like you're just going to defend anybody who's a black woman as if they can never be wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not good for, you know what I mean, like other people's validity. Whether that matters is a different conversation, but that to me is the point. So there, I don't think Meg situation where celebrity relationships, nor Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, someone trying to grift online for money, posing themselves as an expert, where a lot of people do that, white, black, male, female, in between, should be any type of
Mm-hmm.
indictment on black women. That's just two people doing something like that happen to be black women. You know what I mean? But it's a whole lot more that do those same exact things in all those situations who are not black women. And so I don't know. So I just feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. It's not indicative of general
And there
population.
might be some people saying it's easy for you to say you're a man, you're not a woman. But I mean, of course, I know how to separate myself because I don't know these people. I stick to my opinions, and nobody can make me back down. I'll be like, well, I like her, and I don't care what y'all say. And I have people in the comments, and I don't take it, as face value because I even had my cousin comment, and he never comments on my stuff. And he said, now, cousin, I thought you were better than this. And I was like, oh, this gets you
Yeah,
talking. So people should know me better that I'm going to say things because it gets the engagement up, it gets the views up. And, I'm getting paid a little bit of coins, and I want my coins.
yeah,
But do I like Cheyenne, Dr. Cheyenne? I still call her doctor because that's what I knew her as. I personally don't care if she's a doctor or not. I do understand how it is bad, offends others, especially those that have done the work and did. I had a friend that got her PhD, and how grueling it was for her to get that. And then when you put in all this time and effort and money, and then you just have someone that's beautiful that can say she's a doctor, and then she makes she's getting paid because you see her on social media being on these platforms, and then when you find out she's not, you're like, dang, it's offensive to you because I worked hard, and I'm in debt, and she gets to go on there.
right.
So I can also see that side too. But to your point of, we got to look at these people and not really be so engrossed and be in an uproar about it,
Right.
because I really wasn't in an uproar. I'm more in an uproar of the comments because I'm like, no, 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 no. Y'all getting off task. Y'all worried about the wrong thing. Y'all getting so caught up on her and for not focusing what you got going on. And that's the part that makes me go like, here we go again, you
Mhm.
know. But people are not going to listen. People are going to watch this video and they're going to have their opinions, and they're going to be like, but she's still a fraud and she's still this. And I'm like, yeah, but have you paid your taxes? Okay, that's what I thought. So we all got something going on. It's just the fact that hers is on Front Street because she's a celebrity. And that's just the
Yeah.
way it is. Do I hope she is able to, in all honesty, I low key hope this is just all a joke and that she really is a doctor.
It's not no joke. People don't joke about this type of stuff. That's what I'm saying. People don't
I
joke.
know. I was
People
like,
don't joke.
I was
And
waiting for you know what? Since y'all want to see it, and she had it, and I was
and,
like, and the more I saw the interviews, I said, man, girl, this is looking so bad. This
and
is
that's what I'm
getting
saying.
worse
To
and
me,
worse.
it's very much seeming like she's for sure like, so I had some questionability, revolving around her doctorate degree. But I don't think it's a wrong opinion to say, okay, even if Dr. Bryant would be a fraud, because that's what it would be, because it's not just the fact that she doesn't have a degree, it's the fact that you are posturing as if you did one, which will make people not only question your credentials, but now also your character. So that's to me where that also the criticism is also revolving around. It's not just that you did something and you didn't have the letters for it. You were posturing to people like you did, which is sinister.
Hmm.
That's why a lot of people also have a problem. It's not just like, they put in the work and therefore you're just reaping the benefits without putting in the work, as if it's like, I don't know, what, the army or something, or even if it is the army. The also point that some people were making, like there was a lady on TikTok, is that it's dangerous for you to be talking to people about their mental health and you don't have the background to do that. So when some people do take their feels very seriously too. It's just like, you can't just say, and I'm giving you fortune, I'm just telling you, hey, like, keep your head up and all these type of things, or giving you some logical speech and calling that I'm giving you a session. Because she said
Right.
the other thing that she said was that I kind of had an issue with. I was kind of like, huh? Was when the lady had her on an interview and she was asking her about her credentials, And she said, people have seen my sessions live and like what I said, like what you're saying. And so if you're, and she said with Cam and this person, well, Cam did not bring you on for any session. He brought you on to interview you. Not for
No,
you to not
definitely,
for you to
and
probe
we
his
all
life
knew
or
that.
Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, but if you're considering this as an evidence of your session, that further goes into why other people who have real doctors are like, this is, you're making a mockery of this, because we wouldn't go over and try to psychoanalyze someone who did not ask, solicit our advice, and call that a session in front of everyone else, and then
No, facts.
all of these things. So it's not just the fact that she doesn't have the letters; it's the way she's behaving, which is proving to people is like, you're not operating like someone has the letters. We can't find your stuff, and now also your intention of dying with this lie should make anyone question who this person is, because not having the letters is one thing, like you said. Why not come out as a life coach? Well, the fact that she did not come out as a life coach should say something to anyone who wants to listen to her. Because like you said, you could have done that. But why are you not doing that? And why even when people are saying that now, are you saying still dying with the lie? You coming up with about the school closing? They're saying, well, we'll see how school gets.
And
So
it is making it worse, because now that you're caught, quote unquote, you're still, man, you like dying hard going with this narrative, and it is concerning. It does look really bad for her.
and so
I watch it,
therefore,
and I can't even watch the whole thing because I'm so
yeah.
disturbed by it.
Yeah, and so I just think that, I mean, you should at least question now, what else would this person be willing to do or lie about? What else would they be willing to put in the book just so are they just doing this to be in the spotlight? You said she's a pretty girl. And she constantly says that, which is also, to me, sometimes something that I pay attention to, like pops out. Like she was on the Joe Budden conference, like, I'm gorgeous, I'm this, I'm this. People who say things like that, to me, is also red flag, male or female.
Yeah,
Because a man saying,
vanity.
I'm rich, I'm having it, I'm this, red flag. You see what I'm saying? Like, so that type of stuff is like, oh, you just want to be, you just felt like, I'm pretty enough, I have some level of schooling, she did have some education, and
That's a
I
good
feel like I can
perspective.
get this off. And so therefore, I'm gonna just go tell all these people, even though I don't got no husband, I don't got no degree of about this, I feel like I have good, my homegirls tell me I give them good advice. I'm well spoken. I have an interesting opinion. And so, I just feel like that's just dangerous. So that's all.
No, that's a good perspective, and the reason it is a good perspective because sorry, my cats are like going crazy, but because you backed it up with evidence instead of just having your feelings in it, and that's what I respect about you. Because a woman like me, if you give me some evidence, I'm gonna be like, you know what, you're right, I can see that. But if you just like, oh no, forget how most of the people, oh, forget her, she ain't got no doctor, that would make me go like, okay, and what? Like, are
Right.
you just mad about that, or is there a reason why you're mad about it? So, yeah, that's really good, and I can see that. I still do like her, but yes,
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
yeah, I still do like her. But I do agree with pretty much everything that you said, and I can see the perspective on that, and I respect it. And man, I can't wait till it dies down because it's just getting
You like, we can't
it's
take
just
no
getting a
more of
little
this.
too far.
We
I'm
need to,
like,
dump you
dang.
real quick for the community.
Yeah, I'm like, can we go to something else now? Because man, it's even messing up the tonight's conversation platform.
Oh,
That
she's on there. She's on there.
Yeah, she's a big person on there. So that I saw one of the guys that has, I don't know who I know he's on the thing, but they were supposed to have an event because what I think they do, they have the tonight's conversation and then they kind of like branch off from it, having their own thing. And the guy said, I'm not going. Like he
Yeah.
told people that were going to go see him. He went on a live and said, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't support fraudulent activities. And I was like, dang, this is big because people don't even want to be around her.
Yeah, because your integrity is everything. Like, you can't. That's what I'm saying. It's like a little bit bigger than just not having it. It's the fact that you willing to go this length to put yourself in a certain position. And I'm sure all the conversations that these people have had with her, they probably feel betrayed in a way. And that I can understand. Like, again, she still may be able to give okay advice, but for another time, we need to have a conversation about Why is it in general? And this is, I'm gonna kind of pivot away from Dr. Cheyenne because I know we
Okay.
got
Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's set it up
but
so so people
but
have something to look forward to.
yeah, I think we need to have a conversation in general about why are people so willing in today's era, more than I've ever seen, to give advice without having done the work to put themselves in the position to give the advice. I mean, I see why, because it's a grift nowadays. It's almost like financial advice. Like if you go on YouTube, one of the easiest ways to make money on YouTube is giving other people ways of making money on YouTube. Even if you don't have, they don't even have to, know your finances. How would they know? But if you can
Hmm.
make consistent videos and just make it sound good, so there's a lot of people rushing to make content about things that they're no longer an expert on, just flippantly, and I think that's a problem in general. Like even if we're having like let's say a tonight's conversation, and I do enjoy that platform. I think that platform has the bones to be really good, and they've already done a lot of great things.
Right.
But I feel like if you're gonna have a panel up there, every person up there should have the results that the people are coming to hear from. That's another thing though too. Like, you know what I mean? Like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, again, how much can you learn about relationships from someone who's not in one, who's never had one to reach the heights of the success that she said. And that's just what she's publicly admitted. Let alone what we could speculate could potentially be happening behind closed doors with anyone's relationship. So if you don't have the results, I feel like people should always just cautious about listening to you in anything. That's basketball. Like I
Right.
talk about this a lot on my basketball channel. Like I play basketball and I have a big problem, and Brian knows this and other people. I have a big problem with people who give a whole lot of basketball advice to people and have never played. Like, because I feel like it gets away from the conversation. But I feel like that in general is what we're seeing. To me, Cheyenne Bryant's another example of that. But across the board, I feel like people are seeing this in many different industries. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure out how to do that with that topic of using examples, speaking on several different people. Um, but in closing, okay, so y'all, if if you just got here late, you can go back for the playback. But we were basically just speaking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, how she is trending on she does not have her doctorate credentials, and how everyone is like, you know what, whatever she says is null and void. My take was, I don't care. I still liked her content. You can get something from it. So it's kind of like what is it? Eat the meat and spit out the bones type thing. And Akil said, yeah, I see that. But because she didn't have those credentials, and she lied about it and continues to lie about it from what we're seeing until something comes out. That's what's going on. What else is she going to do to make a buck? And that's our take, just a woman and man's point of view. We had a healthy and intelligent conversation. We met through a mutual platform, and then we kind of branched away from that. So we started this friendship on social media. Hopefully one day we get to meet each other and do like in-person stuff. Like
Yeah.
I think that'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That give me a reason to go travel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And go
For
visit.
sure.
But let me tell you what I got going on that adds to this, to where it'll branch off. So my platform, the Let's Talk Not Argue, it had started off as relationship talk. And I still dabble in that, but I didn't want that to be the main thing. I wanted to be more of like, we're having healthy conversations, conducive ones, because it's like, let's talk, not argue, right? And so what I've been doing is when I go to events, I interview the person throwing the event, the people in the event, the spectators, whatever, and getting the different perspectives on that. And I want to grow that. So this is great that we're doing this, because this is exactly what I do. And I want to also do where it's like local businesses or people's platform. Like I don't know many black dentists,
Okay.
and to one day come to your office and the day in
Okay.
the life of Akil and building a business and being a husband and being in the Dallas area from Memphis. Like I
Okay.
have this big vision, and that's how I'm making the connection. So I really appreciate you not only reaching out to me, but being a man of your word. And just giving a fresh take, because I'm based in Louisiana, you're in Texas, but you're from Tennessee, and that's what makes it great.
That's right.
Before I end this, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I mean, I think you touched it all. I appreciate, you having me on the platform. I think you do a great job. That's why I always reach out to you because I feel like, I do enjoy our conversations. I feel like I think men and women need to have healthy dialogue that gets away from this gender war that we see online constantly. And I feel like me and you are able to have that, and that's why I always reach out to you about the topics because I know I want to come into a space where I can talk to someone who offers me a different opinion than mine, but offers it in an intelligent enough way to where I can just have a conversation, maybe learn something from, maybe offer something back, and then we can just talk and maybe 1% make that conversation just a little bit better for everyone. And so that's kind of what I want to do. And I feel like you do a great job of doing those, asking the questions. So yeah, so I like it.
Oh, I really appreciate that feedback. That means a lot to me. So like I'm so humbled by that. So guys, I don't know if we can do this every Monday. I would like to start doing it every Monday. Now that Olivia is about to be out of school, my schedule is going to be way better. But I do want to get back on the Mondays, Akil, if that's cool with you.
Cool with me.
And then what I also want to do is it not just be us, but where we're inviting someone else to the dialogue and we're splitting the screen up. And, it gets to a point where we're doing in person. It's really going to grow, and I know it is. I appreciate you. And guys, if you didn't get to see this, you can watch the playback. Please give your input. We'll go back and go in the comments. Akil, you can go into the comments and answer it too. Make sure you drop your YouTube channel in the comments as well. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.
Okay. Peace.
They say the truth is hard to weaponize. They only injure when they telling lies. The devil feel the shame when revolutions finally televised. You've been advised. Crafting narratives incentivized when lies are uplifted. Being candid gets you penalized.